Hello, this is Emily, Adams, Sam, Akanksha, and Lewis. Together we make up Group 4. Our project is called Venue 360. This project is imaginary, and the purpose is to manage the many properties of our client who is supposedly a wealthy venue owner. Each venue has many relationships between its suppliers, partners, and customers. Our ER diagram aims to capture all the information regarding our venue owner's property operations throughout the year. The end goal of our ER diagram is to provide our client with valuable customer insights to drive growth and highlight key financials to expose opportunities for price changes and cost reductions. If our ER diagram's information is leveraged correctly, our clients should be able to see profit growth for years to come within all of their different venues.
Our ER diagram revolves mainly around the venue entity because venues host all sorts of events with many different kinds of people working at each venue. For example, the entity primary owner is to describe the owner of each venue. Each owner can own one or many venues, but each venue can only be owned by one and only one owner. These owners are uniquely identified by the owner ID and have a composite attribute for their name containing their first, middle, and last name. Each venue has one or many vendors, and each vendor can be at one and only one venue. Vendors are uniquely identified by their vendor ID, but their type is also recorded. Each venue sells one or many concessions, and each concession is sold at one and only one venue. Concessions are uniquely identified by their concession ID, but their concession type is also recorded.
Each manager manages one and only one venue, while each venue is managed by one and only one manager. Each manager also has the following attributes: manager ID and number of subordinates, with the manager ID as the primary key. Each venue hires one or many employees, but each employee can be hired by one and only one venue. Each employee has the following attributes: employee ID, employee department, employee start date, employee phone number, employee name, employee salary, employee type, and employee length employed, which is a derived attribute. Each employee is also categorized as either a security employee or a custodian employee. Each security employee has an attribute of security position, and each custodian employee has an attribute of custodian shift. Because security and custodian employees are subtypes of employee, they inherit the attributes of the supertype of employee as well. The primary key that applies to all employees is the employee ID.
Each venue hosts one or many events, and each event is hosted by one and only one venue. The event entity is uniquely identified by event ID, along with other attributes such as event date and event type. Events can be broken down into two subtypes: sport, which is identified by sports team, and concert, which is identified by concert artist. The sport and concert entities also share the attributes of the supertype entity of event. For each particular event, there can be 0 or more pieces of equipment brought in to help make the event a success. Each piece of equipment belongs to one and only one event, though. Each piece of equipment needs to be kept track of. In order to do so, each piece of equipment also has the following attributes: equip ID, equip quantity, equip name, and equip type. Each event sells one or many tickets, and each ticket is sold by one and only one event. Each ticket is uniquely identified by a TID and has other attributes such as T-cost, T-type, and each customer purchases one or many tickets, and each ticket is purchased by one and only one customer. Each customer is uniquely identified by a cust ID and has other attributes such as customer payment, customer date of birth, and customer name.
From our ER diagram, we established 15 relations. Since most of the relationships are centered around the venue, we'll start there. As we mentioned before, the venue is owned by one primary owner, so we made owner ID a foreign key for the venue relation, linking it to the primary owner table, for which owner ID is the primary key. Similarly, since each venue is managed by one and only one manager, we made the manager relations foreign key the venue ID, linking those two relations together. The venue ID is also used to link the merchandise table to the venue, using it as a foreign key in the merchandise relationship. For all the employees that the venue hires, the venue ID is used to link each employee to the venue that they work at, since an employee belongs to one and only one venue. Vendors that the venue has and the concessions that are sold there are also tied back to the venue using venue ID as a foreign key. The rest of the attributes that these tables contain have been mentioned previously by my group members and are simple attributes, so they each get their own columns in the tables. Next, I'm going to talk about the branch of the ER diagram that deals with events that are hosted at each venue. Like the other relations that I just mentioned, the events relation uses venue ID to tie it back to the venue. Adam talked about how events is a supertype for sports and concerts already, so those are tied back to the events table using event ID. Events then have equipment and sell tickets, and both of these relations are connected to the events relation using event ID as the foreign key. Lastly, we have the relationship between customer and tickets. The customer ID is used to tie each ticket back to the customer who purchased it, which means that the customer ID is the foreign key in the tickets relation, while the primary key of the customer relation. As with the first group of tables that I talked about, the rest of the attributes of these tables have already been mentioned in our simple attributes, so they each get a column in their respective tables. We believe that this is an efficient way to store data about a venue and can be scaled to whatever size the venue is. This is our project Venue 360. Thank you for listening.